Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to make some changes to my match servlet. As you can see here, when we come to this URL, which ends with the slash matches, this is the output that we get onto our screen. And all it says is hello dynamic content. So I'm just going to change the content that's going to be output by the servlet to something that's a little more reasonable for what this servlet actually does. Typically, you're going to name your servlets. You're going to name them something that kind of reflects the purpose of the servlet. And in our case, we call our servlet, we call it a match servlet. So we would kind of expect it to produce matches. The application that we're playing with here is supposed to be a dating website. So you would think that a servlet called matches is going to produce at least a list of matches that the user wants to see. So that's what we're going to do in this video. Is we're going to modify our servlet so that it sends back output that's a little more relevant to what the servlet is called. As you can see here, this is our match servlet class. And if we look in here, just a reminder, our output that's going to be put out to the screen is defined by this HTML right here. And so we're just going to change the string value, and we're going to put HTML code within the string value to be something that's a little more relevant. It'll actually produce a larger web page that has just a few individuals to simulate this servlet outputting matches for us. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to delete the string that you currently see, these values here, and I'm going to replace this string with something that's a little more relevant. Okay, as you can see here, I changed the value being assigned to this string to match something that's a little more relevant to a web page that would actually spit out a list of matches. And as you can see right away, this kind of demonstrates the weakness of servlets. And what I mean by that is you can see that it's a major pain to actually construct an entire web page by putting together a string to represent all of the HTML. If you start scrolling through this string little by little, you'll see that it starts out with an HTML tag, followed by a head, a title, a body. Here's where we have our anchor tags in the page to link to the other two static pages in our website. Here's just a header that claims this is dynamic content, a small paragraph, and then we start building up an HTML table. And you can see line by line how we create the table tag. You can see here how we have to escape these quotation marks because we actually want these to be part of the HTML. This is a border attribute for the table element saying that we do want a border of 1. And so for us to be able to retain these quotation marks within the HTML, we have to escape them. So all this is just a major pain, and you can see we're going to create each individual row using our simple HTML tags. We have a row followed by some columns, and this is just a name, someone named Fred. This is the gender of male, and then an age. And if we keep scrolling down, we're going to see the ending of one row in the table and the beginning of another row. And this one has an individual named Alice, who is a female and has an age of 28. And then finally, we have one last row, somebody named Jack, who is a male and has an age of 62. And after we finish up adding this data, we end our row, this final row, then we end the table, and then we end the body, and we also end the HTML. So you can see constructing a web page like this is a very tedious and error-prone exercise. So this kind of demonstrates the weakness of servlets, but we'll move into more advanced techniques so that you won't actually have to suffer through this kind of pain. But just in this video, I wanted to modify this servlet so that the output is something that's a little more relevant to the name of the servlet, which in our case it's called a match servlet. So we would kind of expect this servlet to at least output matches. So now that I've made these changes, I've also saved them. So what I'm going to do now is to recompile this Java class. I'm going to recompile it, and then I'm going to move all of these files back up to our server. In this case, it's not up to our server because our server is actually the same machine that we're doing our development on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to compile these files within our project folder. And let me just refresh your memory on the difference between our project folder. This is where we have our project that we're working on, our match to. Let me just drill down and you'll see that the changes I made to my servlet. This is my Java file. You can see that I just made a change at 12:18 p.m. The last time I compiled this, it created this class file, and this was a couple of hours ago. So you can see here that I did make a change to this Java file here in my projects folder. So let me jump over. I have a command line tool open, so I'm going to go ahead and jump over to it, and I'm going to recompile my servlet. Let me just bring my command line tool down a little bit. And as you can see here, I am sitting in this folder, the classes folder. So if I hit my up arrow, it'll bring back up the last time I executed my Java C tool. And again, I'm going to point to this class path because my servlet references some classes that are found in the Tomcat libraries. So I'm going to compile, and this is the class path I want to use. And then here, this is the path that goes down to the class that I want to compile. In my case, it's going to be com match2 servlets and the name of my Java file. So if I hit enter, so it seems like it compiled successfully. Let me come back here. If I refresh, you're going to see now that my servlet class is, there's a new version created here at 12:24. So now that I've made all these changes and compiled here in my learning projects folder, what I want to do is I want to take this folder, this match2 folder, and I want to copy it. So I'm just going to highlight it and I'm going to hit Control C. And then I'm going to go back to the folder where my Tomcat installation is. And here you can see this is where my Tomcat server has been installed. And I want to replace, inside this web apps folder, I want to replace this match2. So first thing I'm going to do is just hit my delete key and get rid of the match2 application. And then I'm going to paste back into it. This is the folder that I copied from my projects. So now if I come back to my application, if I just simply do a refresh on my matches servlet, it should bring back a whole different page. So now you can see that my servlet actually now produces some output that makes a little more sense for the purpose of our tutorial here. Since we are creating a dating website, if we execute this matches servlet, we do get a web page that comes back to us that looks a little more like something you might expect to see on a dating website. Of course, this is still very sparse, but again, it tells you this is dynamic content because it was created by a servlet. And it tells you that right here. And then we have that simple table, which gives you back 3 individuals that are kind of simulating matches that may be sent back from a search activity in a regular dating website.